Let's analyze a man is what he thinks about all day. What do you think of this? Essentially, what this means is that whatever a man is thinking, all of his thoughts, it could be good, it could be bad, it could be about a situation, it could be about a person, it could be about a company, it could be about a relationship. Everything that they're thinking is what they are becoming. So, of course, when you think about a person, you think about a relationship, you think about a situation, you also think of it in the context of yourself. What that means is that you know how you feel about someone. Let's say you have a great relationship with one of your best friends. Now, you might think your best friend is great because of the relationship they have with you, but another person interacting with your best friend and have a different version or perspective of your best friend. What that means is that your relationship with someone or your perspective of someone is dependent on you, because that same situation, same perspective can have a different meaning for someone else. Now, getting back to the quote, it's important to understand that every person has their own perspective, which is, of course, built through their background, their belief system, their value system, which is something that everyone cannot control. Like, no one can really control where they're born in. Maybe they like their parents, maybe they don't, whatever it is. So everyone has developed this perspective over the years. Now, what that perspective has done is it has added or subtracted at times as a person grows up, because every day we are encountering new things on TV, new things on news, new things within our own social media accounts, new things within the people we interact with, how we interact with them. And as we're adding these new things to our life, it's adding to our mind. We are creating thoughts. A person generates over like 60K thoughts a day. What that means is that they're generating a lot of thoughts. And those thoughts eventually, if not really like considered, can lead a person to a bad path or a good path, depending on what they're thinking. Now let's think of a situation. You are in the current economy and you're trying to find employment, right? Let's say you are a professional and you lost your job, you were laid off. And what you're hearing around you is so much negativity about layoffs, that there is no per se jobs, people are suffering. If that is a kind of scenario you surround yourself with, then you will start to think that you're not incapable, that you're an incapable person to find your next role, and you're developing all of these negative thoughts, which are adding everything is adding up. Those thoughts are making your own perspective about the situation. It's showing you that maybe you're not capable, or maybe you will not find the right fit. And therefore, whatever you're thinking is what you're becoming. Now, in that particular scenario, okay, you're laid off and you're trying to find another role, but there's a lot of layoffs. Instead of you surrounding yourself with so much negativity, why don't we look at a positive side? Why don't you change the perspective to say that there's something better for me out there? Now, let's say, looking back at the same situation, maybe you were making less and you keep a perspective that, okay, I'm going to find even more competitive wage for myself. And because of this scenario and the pep talk you give to yourself, again, everything comes down to pep talk. Everything is about self-care, self-talk, how you talk to yourself. Going back, if you say, okay, instead of thinking that I'm not going to find anything, whatever happened to me was the worst thing that could happen to me, I'm going to change the perspective about myself. I'm going to say I am fortunate enough to be in a situation where I can go and find work for myself. Now, you might be saying, okay, I live in a certain part of the world, I live in certain situation, that this might not be possible. That can also be true, but what you're changing right now is all in your thought process. And the quote, again, going back to it, it tells you that whatever you're thinking is what you're becoming. So you have two perspectives, either think positively or negatively. So if you start to give yourself a positive talk, saying that there's something out there for you, an opportunity, a job opportunity in this particular scenario that we're talking about, you can start to look at the positive side. Of course, in a job searching process, there is a lot of negativity out there because you get more rejections than you get acceptance, and that's just how it works. But if you continue to apply, continue to try things, continue to have thoughts that encourage you, help you learn, help you grow, help your belief system become better. Those are the things that are going to take you to the next level. Because those things, again, your thoughts translate into your emotions translate into your feelings, and your feelings translate into your circumstance. There's this law of the universe that the inner reflects the outer. So negative inner thoughts will make your outer world negative, and that's just physics there. But positive thoughts will make your outer world positive. And it goes back to the belief that people have about themselves. I know we just mentioned like a layoff situation, but it goes deeper than that. What do you think about yourself? Do you think you're a good person? Do you think you're a bad person? Do you think you want to grow? Do you think you are a self-learner? Or do you really think you are, let's say, a loser? Do you think you never get what you want? Do you think you are always suffering? You think you're always, bad things are coming to you? What is your belief system? Because that belief system will give you your life, basically. There's so many people out there who might not be 100% great people, but we see that, okay, their lives are, meaning like their situation might not be 100% great, but their thought process is amazing. Like there are people who have cancer in the world and they don't even let that affect their mind. They're like, okay, my mind is not going to be dependent on my external factors, not on my body. I can be sick as hell, but I want to ensure that my mind is positive. I want to give myself at least a gift of good thoughts. Instead of saying that, I'm sick, I have cancer, I'm dying, replace that with I'm absolutely fine. Everything is great and everything will be great. And you will see that things change according to your thinking. It changes according to your emotions. Because your thought process, your words are related to your emotions. Again, coming down to a man is what he thinks about all day long. What does a man think about all day long? Is a man thinking negative things and using words that are just not great? Worry, fear, jealousy, hatred. Or is the man changing everything that he has with good thoughts? Peace, wisdom, knowledge, love, care. So every person has one thing in common. And the one thing in common that they all have is the ability to think, the ability to develop their own thoughts. Now you might say, my thoughts come from situations. If something is bad, obviously I'm going to react and be like, okay, this is bad. Or if I see something horrible in the news, of course I'm going to say the world is going on a different path. But again, those are thoughts that you're developing based on the reaction. What do you want from life? Do you want to control the situation, your thoughts, or do you want to give an external party the power to control them? Do you want to give some corporate company who is spreading maybe a propaganda, or maybe they're not even spreading it, maybe they're just stating facts, maybe it's a news company that's just been saying, let's say there was a car crash today. Are you the person who is changing yourself based on what you hear and essentially letting other people control you? Or are you taking power over your thoughts? Because again, a man is what he thinks all day long. You are essentially what you think all day long. If you're thinking that there's something wrong in the world, then you are living in the wrong world and you will attract to yourself negativity. You will attract to yourself things that you hear around you because you are constantly thinking of them. It's all around your thought process. You have to develop a positive thought process. Of course, a positive thought process doesn't happen all the time, and it doesn't happen overnight. Rome wasn't built in a day. It takes time, and it also takes continually trying to improve. And how do you try to improve? You try to do that by recharging yourself every day, replacing the negative thoughts with good thoughts instead of, there will always be, now you might be thinking, okay, but I'm constantly in an environment where I'm hearing negativity. That's fine. But no negative thing will ever come within your mind and change you. Meaning, no one has the power in the world to control your thoughts. Only you have it. You have the ability, you have the power to control your thoughts. You want to be positive. You don't want to be spreading out negativity in the world, right? Then why should it be vice versa? Why should the world influence you? It comes down to what a man thinks all day long. Is a man thinking good things about himself, about the world, about the circumstances? Every person has the power to replace good with bad. What good with bad means is that something good can come, positive, and you can make it negative, and vice versa, something negative thing can come and you can make it positive. But what do you really want to do in life? What do you inspire to do? I think everyone wants to become a better version of themselves. They want all the satisfaction that they can get with, of course, being financially independent. They also want to have a family. They also want to have a support system, but they want to be internally happy, right? Of course, there are external factors. I will talk more about them, but the foundation comes from inner. If a man is thinking all day long how bad he is, how in a situation he is where he's suffering, he's victimizing himself, he's letting others have the authority without recognizing that there's so much out there for him where he has the power over his thoughts. He has the power over on what he chooses to put in his mind and what he chooses to put outside of his mind. Now, let's say that someone comes to you and they say that you are yellow, that your skin tone is yellow. And you're like, no, my skin tone is not yellow. They're like, oh, no, you're getting sick. You're getting peeled. There's something wrong with you. You're getting this disease. Now, that person is just telling you, okay, that you might be getting sick, but only you have the power to make that decision, to say that, am I really getting sick, or is this just something around me that is creating noise? Similarly, it can be applied to any situation. If a person comes to you and say that you're never going to know this, you're horrible, are you going to take that or are you going to overcome it? Now, feedback is good. Positive, constructive feedback is good. But you need to not take it, it's like you shouldn't take success to your mind or failure to your heart. You need to be neutral. You need to understand that each thought, each person, each relationship, everything is good in balance, in perspective. You don't want to take too much of something and then just say that, okay, I'm just bad based on all these situations that I've come across, and make that your destiny. Because again, at the end of the day, your thoughts define your destiny. What do you want to be? What do you aspire to be? Are you going to let just other people come and tell you about yourself? Or are you going to control your thoughts and direct them towards positivity, towards what you want to become, what you are? This is something that you should think about. A man is what he thinks all day long. What do you think of all day long? What do you want to think of all day long? What do you want to become? It all comes down to a person's mind. What are they thinking? What do they want to do? Because your thoughts are nothing more than just words that you're putting in your mind and just thinking through them. They have no power unless you give the words powers and make it thought, give time to it. Your thoughts are taking rent. They're supposed to be paying rent to you because they're in your mind. So to conclude this, Rome, again, wasn't built in a day. Of course, as you're developing yourself, you are growing. Your thoughts can change depending on the situation, but your foundation should be strong. No, you need to have that positive mindset of looking at the positivity around you, but especially about yourself. Stay positive. Don't say negative things about yourself. Don't say how bad you think you are. Replace every bad with good. Don't use words that will add no value to your life. Use the words of peace, love, wisdom, care, prosperity. What do you want? Your thoughts will eventually become your reality. The words you think become thoughts. The thoughts you think becomes your feelings, your emotions, your reality. And at the end of the day, a man is what he thinks all day long.